Well, good afternoon. As we're sitting here on this beautiful afternoon of trying to make myself presentable, but this is gonna, I cannot improve it. It's just the way it is, huh? Wait. So yeah, pretty much it is. It is the 8th day of April, year 2025, on a Tuesday afternoon here with the Hello Hello Show. My name is Haim Mizrahi, continuing with the tradition of public access and the tradition of the Hello Hello Show that's been on the air since 1980. Of course, not to fail to mention the contribution by Fraser Dougherty, Frass and San, and of course the likes of you out there that make it your business to enhance and fortify this concept, rightfully so, as we need it evenly at any given time throughout all kinds of weathers and moods and whatnot. That's kind of the level of sobriety of the concept that allows people to express themselves is a very meticulous one, I should say. And to find ourselves in serving as the background and the foreground is nothing less than impeccable and wonderful. So I'd rather to exaggerate my and heighten my feelings in the face of this expression of happiness and uh, sturdiness and at easeness kind of thing. So I guess it's anyway. So I realized that I wanted to kind of stop within every 9-10 minutes, and I prepared about 5-6 pieces. Each one of them is like a minute and a half. Uh, Storytelling poetry, very random in its meticulous way of trying to come across as accurate and freestyle and rich expression and also an element of consideration and understanding of the surrounding. And by finding yourself doing that, you really kind of blending more because you uh, add more uh, trend into the a concept that never stops reinterpreting itself, and therefore that's why we find ourselves being very surprised at every junction, because most of the stuff now we don't even remember that indeed we were directly responsible for its creation. And so I always considered this mood and this state of mind as a very healthy. And then, of course, anything that you can add to it will just make it more. Um, uh, I don't know if I should use the word resilient, but friendly with the demands of reality, or friendly with the demands of the moment that in itself and by its own nature is very experimental and very unpredictable in a good way. And that is to say that you can only sit and uh, be surprised, but also uh, anticipate and expect, because you know that the entity and the source of power that you're facing is a force to be reckoned with. So as you are in motion to um, be critical, you should always consider the fact that in 1 second the odds can change and you can be in the line fire of the forces that are critical of what you're doing. And then you might end up learning about yourself that maybe it's not something that you like so much to be. I don't know actually why. I don't know why artists are so sensitive. And I mean, I know why to criticism, and they can do without and all that. Unless criticism is the criticism is actually raving about you and catering to you. And I never understood. I never understood the point. I never understood the level of sensitivity uh, and the whole atmosphere of movement is very um, energetically uh, overestimated, overgraded, and it takes so much away from us. I mean, I made that decision on the basis of just not on based on intelligent base or knowledgeable basis or technically savvy mood and style. It was just because I didn't. Maybe I didn't want to suffer more than I already am as an artist, which is a given. So that portion that uh, pushes you and flattens you against the wall and almost dictates to you that this is the price, this is the lovely price you're going to be paying for being so lucky and privileged to be able to hold the brush and the canvas and claim that this is lifestyle and this is in the heart of the message and I'm the messenger, things like that, which happen to be true. But go figure a way to come across as natural, being the one who delivers the message as natural. You know how difficult that is? But what people don't know is that if you will survive through 2, 3 motions, stages, things open up disproportionately. That means it's not going to go like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It will go 1, 2, 3, 11, 12, 23, 44, 45, 67. Um, and and I thought to myself, I don't want to suffer. I mean, yeah, well, I don't know if I don't want to suffer more than I need to. It's like if I can do without some, and if I can make something happen that some of it can go away, I'll be very happy. So that's a very romantic, sensitive, maybe self-serving approach to, hey, listen, I will never tell you that the reason that I did it was of such. This is something I'd like to keep to myself, but you're gonna have to make your own choices. And if you want to glorify me, you're gonna have to glorify me anyway. Which way is not what's important. But so we happen to find out that we know about the other, that we mean a lot to them. And we mean a lot to them because the kind of lifestyle that we chose and the fact that we being considered as those individuals who who invented who invented the character of that seriousness of who they are and who they come across as. It's an amazing feeling, and it's an amazing ability to make other people feel. So I never stopped at nothing. Not well. I can say about myself, I never stop at nothing without declaring right after that I'm actually a a, like a machine, like someone who's in love and not sleeping enough and toiling and whatever. Yes, but in a different style. That different style is more like it would some elements that will decide, as far as the basics are concerned, what's good for you and what's not, and also do something about the fact if if there's a need to reduce the presence of unnecessary forces, or actually, let's just say, um, empty meaning, kind of non-useful and burdenous. Is that the word? Burdenous? Yeah. That's and um, and at that crucial stage, which afterwards you realize that they are like constant crucial stages during the day, more than you ever thought that it's possible for it to be. Uh, but then quickly enough, you get used to that also. And quickly enough, through the filter of your uh, understanding of the concept that speaks in the name of, hey, why do you want to worry about it? It's not like you can do something about it other than, yes, that thing is called robbing yourself of the essential energy that keeps you afloat, keeps you alive, keeps you happy, some of which can never be retraced or retrieved. It's gone forever. Yeah, so I don't know. So once you realize that, it doesn't take really that much for you to already implement it to a certain extent, to a certain degree, and to maybe think about other people, people, people who run companies with, like small small countries, small states, you know, like like 45,000 employees, you know, and there's a guy, and there's one that's really orchestrating everything. A lot of individuals that each one of them has very important work, all the way to you, consumers, and those who offer you the merchandise for you to be interested to begin with, and to be also interested in purchasing. So 45,000, 50,000 employee, and you're like the kind of guy that likes to think that you will be the one who pretty much know all the employees, you know, as friends, as families, and there's a but there's that this group of people is almost like you can consider it to be 45,000 people are waiting outside the gallery where you're showing your work, and you're just going to open the gallery, and and it won't be as if you're going to have an art exhibition, and here's the opening is in a couple of hours, and then there's like three, four, 500 people attend. In first half hours, about 150 people, and in the first 45 minutes, 225 people, and then um, you know another hour into the show, and you're beefing up, and it's 300, and then you end up being in and out in motion, in rhythm, 500 people, and uh, that's considered solid attendance. It spells interaction. It spells exchange of intelligentsia, and also lots of emotions and sensitivities, finding out and discovering and revealing your own secrets and your own, uh, you know, chain of thoughts and plans, and going about it style, you know, just the whole uh, elliptic, playful, elastically, uh, whatever do you want to name it, is circling all the time from all directions. But you are the orchestrator, and and so now, why did I say that? You jump from 500 to 45,000, and you don't indulge or excite yourself or think in a certain way due to the fact that, you know, wow, 45,000. The real test leads you to reveal about the process that it's the same attitude needed and required in order to arrive to the understanding that happens to be very meticulous of what all the things other than the actual process of painting mean, you know, and then therefore that will inevitably, inadvertently create a background and a foreground and a composition for the actual explanation to the mass. That means you do that, and as you do that, there's a small book written to be supplied and be available to all those who attend the show, for them to have like a 10-minute read and get like, what the heck, and get that just as they step into the gallery. And there's the story, and there's the today I woke up through my rituals and the thoughts of the night before, and the dreams, as much as much as I can consider that I remember, and the fantasticness of the morning, and the anticipation, and then the 70% of the anticipation actually was made available and possible. So therefore, it just led you into the room and led you outside the room, into society, into that playground, into that level of trying to find a center that will allow you to be considerate and helpful um, and good natured, and but creative as hell. I remember that there were like 2 years, in the years, and indulge me in for me to say 2003 to 2017. Now, hear me out. 2003 to 2017, that's 14 years. 14 years of creating in Springs of East Hampton in the most exquisite, small, somewhat challenging, but exquisite studio with a surrounding that happens to be not less exquisite of what's really taking place inside. You're talking about a given exuberance that was melting and flattening itself all over the immediate space. Everything. It was so the strength of the not only the anticipation but the expectation that daily you find yourself to live up to the expectation. I mean, do you understand what it means to have expectations? And we're talking about you yourself and you, and you're talking about you yourself and you without feeling awkward about it. It's just you yourself and you. So whatever you want to invite into the equation, some voices or, or some kind of light coming in and out, motions, shadow, whatever. Fine, it is no objection. And I think a lot of it was there. A lot of it. But the relationship between you entering the studio and doing what you're doing in the studio and creating and recreating and finalizing and stamping and approving and thickening and all this to find its way when it's timing to go out and land in some space really almost irrelevant. Not that I don't want to tell you that if I would get a chance or someone would like to show my work at Chelsea in one of those really solid galleries, of course I will be happy. Someone who will tell me, I love your work, and why don't you just submit about 3 dozen pieces and at your leisure and make your whatever based on the story you want to make up and just deliver it. Or you know what, even better, I'll come pick it up. I'll send a truck, whatever. Don't worry. We're good to go. We know who you are. We know what you're all about. You know, we know the potential and the actuality of the anticipation of what your work does to people, can do to people, has done to people, for people, and uh, and we appreciate it, and we will very quietly try to adapt and to relate and to have you as a point of reference that is guaranteed to be a constructive point of reference with uh, uh, never ending generosity. So you're talking about something real, something that you uh, know for sure that you have speak that it can be served as a package, as a package by code of conduct. And a lot of people there, believe me, even if you think they don't pay attention to you, they observe you, and that's a good thing. It's their own style of interaction and communication. It's okay, and eventually you would learn like that language, and eventually those whom you want to learn their language will end up learning your language and adapting to it. That's how the world has been weaving itself now and will continue to weave itself in that ceremonial mood, uh, deep musical knowledge of structure and shape that rolls into the stamp of eternity, because obviously it will never stop playing unless it's completely, absolutely being forced to a point where it won't be able to perform, which is start the internal sequence of that quietness, but very happening inside. So here and there you bump into some cliche moments or cliche, that which is cliche. It can derail you because it has a lot of evil parts to it. Because to allow people to form their opinion, that's the most wonderful thing I can think about. But also allowing yourself to choose to stay away from them for whatever reason, I highly also acknowledge as important and protect. So really, just like I said at the beginning about 20 minutes ago, but do you really think you can make a difference if you were not to be a hands-on artist? Uh, that I don't want to think about those who at least don't consider that the creative process is something very healthy and very um, uh, appealing and very accommodating in your life. In the shadow or in the background or alongside that which you decide to be, you want to be a therapist, or if you want to be a lawyer, if you want to be a plumber, if you want to be a pilot, uh, it's really a given. But then you realize that the story that you yourself wrote, that at some point you abandoned your need to control it and to control everything else for that sake, all your creations, all to be controlled by you. Oh no, 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 this is mine, and you don't understand. This is mine, and I want you to move it. I want to move it here. I think it's better for it to be here or to be there. Things like that. But for you to find out, like I do, whatever interactions I have with the world, whether it's business or whether it's art or whether it's just friendship gatherings and all this, I always want to have my mechanism be compatible with the fact that I can be reminded by it on daily basis. Doesn't matter what the time, what the timing is. It's just that you know that once or twice a day you'll be notified. Either it can be 21 or 22 times a day that you can be completely proactive and super hyper into implementing it, and that's okay too. But you want to be heard in the sense that after the fact, so many people are talking about the implications and the influence that this session of yours had over them, and that they're left with something sweet. And maybe you wouldn't know about that sweetness if it wasn't for you ending up finding yourself listening to what they have to say about their perception of who you are and what you are. And then of course it helps you because you know that you're doing the same with the world and with people. So the uh, the day that I acknowledged that actually this is real, maybe as real as I thought it was, but not maybe believed it was, but I thought it was, and it turned out to be true. That the uh, uh, association, oh, here is so and so, and immediately in the depth of your library, it floats and it kind of shines, and and you know instantly, you know the story because the story you deciphered maybe 100 times over, and for a good reason. And you don't need to understand exactly when, where from, and how come, and what was the content, and what was the message. Did it make sense? Did it not make sense? None of that. None of that. You're talking about, of course, of course, of course, of course. That sculpture that was like so massive and so delicate. It almost gave you a feeling that it's there, anchored forever, but still suddenly another level of understanding make it look shaky and loose, and you feel like you want to take a tool and start tightening the knots there and all this. Why am I saying this? I said 20 minutes ago that every 10 minutes I'm going to read a storytelling poetry through which I will be able to summarize, and it's going to be 5 segments. Now I did actually 24 minutes, so it's going to be only three. So why don't I get to it? Because I want to, I want you to feel good, and I want to look for, see if, um, see in, here we go. Okay, so the whole idea I remember my first conversation with my, not my first, but my first real conversation with my sister. That was a poetry, still a poet. And I used to say, "Oh, you and your poetry, how tiring. You're so in love with your language." And on and on. And she said, "Oh, yeah? You think you're smart? Okay. How about you write a poem?" And I said, "I will, most certainly will." And I went into the room with a pen and a paper, and and I came out of the room, and I wrote three poems, and it was poems that my sister read, and suddenly she said, "Ooh." She just kept calling my name. Hi, hi, what's up? Wow, well, wow. And you take that into the storytelling aspect of it. That it's actually, what is it? Did they have it here? Yes, they have it here. That it's because I okay. Um, a vibrant expansion unfolds, teeming with life yet fraught with tumultuous upheaval. This dynamic setting mirrors a bridge unexpectedly fostering an eruption of blossoms, clinging to prominence with surprising tenacity. You're the architect who defied convention but by raising the earth, were met with jubilant acclaim, a testament to your triumph. However, this celebratory atmosphere was tempered by an undercurrent of circumspection, a reminder of inherent risks, though chance may guide disruptions. Outcomes can unexpectedly align with precision. Royal decree established leisure as the norm, established leisure as the norm, as the sovereign re- retreated into self indulgence, despite expressing disbelief in past utterance. In spite of expressing disbelief in past utterances, the sting of pain is inconsequential in the grand scheme. I allude to a voyage of spiritual significance within a constructed sanctuary guarding valuable insights. Hopes fluttered amidst this throng of supporters, yet they failed to impart the looming dread intertwined with this pursuit, a melancholic interplay between the beauty and peril, just in case. So it says, uh, but so and then you can do the same because I did 24 minutes. I'm going to do two segments here, like this, for example. Uh, it's like amongst probability. Yet the rolling growth tender with pulsating life. Yet the rolling growth tender with pulsating life, a righteous, wrathful place for an uprising in circles, as if a bridge were to nurture the explosion explosion of blossoms. How does it cling? A latch rim bonded with notoriety. You, the one who elevated the soil above the ground. A celebration erupted, pitching a score. and you emerged victorious. Yet the inflated atmosphere belonged to the separate trend of caution. Though a blast guided a bricklayer haphazardly, it landed with grace. Royalty set a standard for the idol as the king withdrew to indulge. I can hardly believe I uttered those words, but the pain doesn't matter. Clearing the path of pain, piercing through the veil of humility, I refer to a spiritual journey, a man made cave concealing treasure, and hopes fluttering amidst the funnels of well wishers. Yet they neglected to reveal the terror that accompanied it, a somber pattern between the rose petals clutching onto thorns just in case. So it's I don't know how to say it really, but uh, uh, just cleaning it. You don't want to improve the language. You want to just clean it. You know what I mean? Just simply clean it. That's what you want. Um, uh, let's see. Um, don't change the meaning. That's yeah. Just clean it up a bit. That's what I always say. That you, uh, yeah, it's good. So that's let's see. Where's my coffee? My coffee is there. And amongst probability, I don't even know that. That of course you figure out the. Yeah, of course, because it says uh, it says. I think I know what I was forgetting. That this should run like that all the time, and still growth rolls forward, tender and full of pulsing life. A righteous, rightful. Okay, so this is that. Actually, I should do this here. So I'm going to skip that because it's just a little too heavy. Because in the process of, and that I can tell you hands on, the fact that I visit artists' studios and I get down to the nature of how things are being done and what kind of attitude not only in place necessary, but attitude necessary to be able to prevail and to create the ground so it will be compatible with breakthroughs. And I haven't met a painter that doesn't want to uh, have, to, to to witness results and to leave an impact and to get this kind of feeling or reaction of wow, 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 indeed, wow, that elevates that individual to the height that it deserves, and then, of course, by doing so, guaranteeing that all these people around you from all directions, they're all doing something about it. They're all doing something about it. And this whole idea of the stability of the it and the state of mind slash demeanor of the it is actually acceptable and uh, made and created and decided on the basis of um, deep thought and concern and, and being selfless helps a great deal, especially if you're going like 20 hours a day for the world, and then meeting yourself for 4 hours and deciding how much of it will be into uh, um, cooling down and how much will be for sleep. But that kind of a level of giving and donating and sharing and in showing the consistency of being selfless. Yeah, that's a big deal, and that's admirable. I can say that I felt feelings like that, maybe randomly, like a few times in my life, and it's something you never forget. There's so much condensed joy in those moments of uh, performances of accuracy, about accuracy, uh, and how it serves as a tool as a tool in our hands. No matter how in um, inventing we are, still there's pretty quickly you find yourself bored. You don't even know what, how come, and where did that come from? Because just a second ago you were completely saturated with ideas, and it's still there. It's just that it's going maybe to deflate overwhelmingness a little bit because it tends to accumulate fast and being dissolved fast also. But to go through it unnecessarily, that's exactly what I pointed out earlier. Not a good idea. So right away you can kind of put an end to all these episodes that suddenly shows into you being introduced into your life over and over again, and being a part of it for weeks. Maybe something you don't want at all. Maybe the knowledge that you have a plan and reaction in place that you actually rehearsed. This episode will go away so fast and spare you from unnecessary kind of, I don't know, indirect punishment. But yeah, well, just I mean, even if you there are a lot there are a lot of people that I know that are devoted to worshiping God, loving God, expressing it in a very meticulous way. It can be a rabbi, it can be a priest, it can be a yogist, it can be a lot of capable people, and there are. Um, and and you on the other end of it because you supply the material and all these uh, message deliverers, um, and and uh, as we all know that everything is susceptible to change and anything needs some kind of maintenance being performed and taking place, and switch between characters because there's maintenance to be done and there's maintenance to be done, and you find out how this mechanism and fine-tuning process is actually agreeing or otherwise with reality, that it will be um, a living creature that will surround the image for as long as possible, for the longest duration, and make you feel that you actually allowing yourself the realistic pleasure of one mood to another, one destination to another, one journey to another, one passage to another, one suggestion to another. And it belongs to some kind of an unknown entity, territory, placement, location that you probably know something vague about it and never interest your or made your senses curious so much so that you want to acquire about its meaning, about its implication of its presence. And because eventually you will find out that no matter what, it's always going to end up with you. It's always going to be you. The answer is always going to be you, i.e., me. So, um, to perform that level of delicacy in being uh, slash accurate, accuracy, there's a lot of room to indulge and to celebrate and to jump clumsily but not break anything type of thing, Um, and the infrastructure as strong as they come. So you indulge in that. And indulge, I use this word especially because it's almost like it's like even when you give up and you put yourself aside, still uh, you find out that you need to toil more, to give it another day and another day and another half a day. And when I speak of a day, I talk about the most intense hours, the most demanding occurrences. And and you learn that you have to react. You cannot go there and be passive, and that's how you're gonna pass the time and spare yourself from scars and challenging moments and on so many levels. But you want to be able to understand it together with the other creature under discussion, like yourself being a creature. And the blending of it is blending of human beings, one next to the other, and the melting process that makes one whole image of some kind of a the the feature of the center of the piazza or something like that. There's a huge piazza and a small stage. There seems to be always someone on that stage. And that's because we are concerned about it and we're making sure that there's something or someone at any given time on it. And sometimes it will be disproportionately crowded, but all in the name of donating, giving from yourself, lending, uh, making your voice heard and your intentions, and making people trust you, and so they can believe you. So they can believe you, therefore they can trust you. So they can trust you, therefore they can believe you. Just the ongoingness of the rare moment that lands in your hand is the one that will help you emerge and learn about all the essentials emotionally. So when you hit the jackpot, you'll be somewhat ready. And somewhat ready is a lot, and and it's a good feeling. It's a good feeling because I've been through it. Now you speak of public access, you speak of neighborhoods, you speak of towns and villages um, um, and just expanding into the cities and the states and the continents. It's just all of um, the never ceasing to amaze a world, speaking in the name of the, the preconception of too much guessing, too much guessing. It's unbelievable. And even though you find yourself in the rich pool of lack of knowledge when it comes to swimming and nevertheless floating, and you take that back to your studio, and with it you learn the code of conduct, the very basic ABC, 1, 2, 3, and touch and smell and hearing and sight and and passion and compassion and concern, and like I said before, generosity. And that generosity, so difficult to believe that you're actually holding on to it, and they're actually responsible for so many additions and layers that are there forming along the years. But you cannot deny yourself the uh, eloquency, no, eloquence, okay? The eloquence of this fact as a factor standing still, fact as a factor standing still, fact as a factor standing still. Hardly any second thought, any no preparations and preparedness to just in case I lose track and I won't be able to hold on to the race and be forced to be out of it. So this is where I want to emphasize that I'm going to end up as I enter this destination as a whole in general, and then find my way into, but in a very dramatic way, yet very quiet, very forceful fashion, yet very um, considerate and patient. And that's a lot to be said, because most people really, really get hurt in the in between layers of arrival and journey, like journey and um, embarking. And you want to extend a hand to yourself. You want to be able to envision your smile and adapt it and adapt to it and adapt it and adapt to it and adapt it and adapt to it. And you will find out that you're successful more often than not. And and then you say, "Oh my God, this is my sister. Oh my God, it's my wife. Oh my God, it's my son. Oh my God, it's my family." You know, and but you phasing will be more like when it's really out of whack. When it's really out of whack. When it's really out of whack, then it stands a chance. And that chance that it stands is delivering a piercing either sound, touch, smell, pushing it away, pulling it close, and just uh, this praise the Lord sentiments and statements. Praise the Lord and praise the Lord and praise the Lord. No, things like that. And you are writing poetry, and you are playing music, and you painting paintings, and you control the situation, and it works for you. It's good for you, and you control in order to be selfless, and you control in order to be mindful, and you control in order to be a, a, a message creator. And if you go through all the interactions, you will not find out necessarily that as that there are going to be just as many real happenings there in order to leave behind a recollection such as the body in front of you. So you hang out to it until you maybe cannot do, or maybe you lose interest. But one thing is for sure is that when you leave it, just as much as when you entered it, there was a, a one heck of a transformation taking place, and it includes you and includes your heritage. Um, so that's how we travel. I mean, when I think about it, I say that's how we travel, and that's how I yield to read myself at the other end and said to myself, you know what, good job. Now go tend to your loved ones and go tell them that you love them and tell them that their life is what you're all about, and tell them that you are someone they can lean on and depend on, and expect to provide and to educate and to transfer knowledge and heritage, and just enough so one will not feel deprived in the early stages of being introduced to society. And I know you know what I'm talking about. So now what you choose your medium. I'd like to stick with art for now, and there's today I ordered like a 5 by 600 feet, and it's awesome. And it's like when you think about it, it's only $100, and with shipping it's like $140. Now you really don't have to be rich to go and purchase enough canvas that can stretch you um, about 20 paintings that are fairly big, that are between 4 and 5 feet, 4 by 5, 5 by 4, a few inches more, a few inches less. But uh, it's an incredible, and it's a day's work. You get the rolled canvas, you unroll it, you build some stretches ahead of time, and then you stretch it, and then you prime it, and then everybody's happy for real. Everybody's happy. So I don't know. I wanted to touch it again, and this time touch it in the center, so it will give me a little extra burn, because I didn't yet find myself sharing the pain and making other people realize and understand that that it's it, there's an awareness out there. People know about you, and when I speak of you, I speak of you, the me that's here now. Like I'm seeing you there, I see myself here, and when I see you, I see myself because I'm myself when I'm you. Things like that. You don't play too many games with the words. You just use what proved itself to be friendly and supportive along the years, and it might be just that energy that aids you to make sense of composition and to make sense of grouping, um, and to make sense of just goodwill and willingness to cope with desires that will, you know, help paintings be painted and come to life. So I want by this to conclude and say we're going to be here tomorrow as much as we were here yesterday, and as much as we're going to be here. Um, um, how about I start all over again? We're going to be here tomorrow as much as we were here yesterday, and as much as we're here now on Tuesday afternoon, April 8th, 2025, here with the Hello Hello Show. My name is Haim Mizrahi. Come and check the group art show that's taking place this month. It's called Let Alone. It's a black and white um, exhibition with Josephine Wustashak and um, Bob Sullivan, Chris LaCour, Fan Yu Lin, Judy Gambino, and Steve Rom, and myself. So that's going to be on display through the third week of April, and then I'm putting together another wonderful show. And it is our almost 30th year with group art shows here, and I've been very fortunate to be able to curate these shows and to be a part of LTV. God bless. keep up the good work, and then just make sure that you can step into LTV anytime you want, especially Monday through Friday, 9 to 5, and check out on the website all these wonderful concerts and sessions and creativity acts here at LTV After Hours.